Yo, what's up? My name is Realize, and in today's video, I want to have a sort of stream of consciousness sort of commentary where I really just speak off the dome piece regarding a lot of things that have been in my mind recently. And admittedly, there's been a lot of things that have been getting me very just upset, frustrated, and honestly, I've just kind of come to the realization recently, not even the realization, but I guess the reminder that just being so deadlocked onto those certain things, as valid as they are, it sort of just primes you with a sort of complacency mindset, or at the very least, just primes you for just negativity. And I guess that's primarily what this video is going to be about is that, if there are important things that you want to express, if you feel that there are ideas that are very important to you and should be recognized by other people, or at the very least, you want to be taken seriously as a person. I feel like you shouldn't really do any sort of discredit to the things you want to say or the ideas you want to express by being a complete fucking degenerate. And me saying that is really just sparked out of a recent video that I made. And there are definitely a lot of valid complaints that I have within it. It's regarding my job and my experience there. And I guess I really just kind of came to the conclusion that I have to quit this fucking job. What it's making me do is lose my sense of self. And ultimately, it's not, it's rewriting my story to be something that is of anger, of hatred, of frustration, rather than any sort of the ambitions that I am very passionate about. And that's a fucking mouthful. It definitely is. But, I guess to really just summarize it, I've always had an issue with anger. I've always had my frustrations with people. It's definitely it's definitely caused a sort of pattern of behaviors that make people just be averse towards you. And again, I do not want to bitch about this fucking life experience anymore, but it's something I could recognize, something I could recognize within myself and something I definitely recognize within others. And I guess that's something good that I could take away from any of these negative ass fucking experiences. We as people, we're actually a lot more similar than we like to fucking believe. And the biggest point that I feel like I should defend out of my recent video is that we're all capable of our own fucking just eccentricities of being fucking unhinged, retarded, and straight up. This is gonna sound fucking psychotic, but I feel like the selective tolerance that a lot of these groups or people who identify a certain way have, that's like the biggest poison of our society to this fucking day, because there's no clear line of logic when it comes down to things. It really is just a sort of like basis of what I think, or how I'm feeling. It's no sort of like consistency in living by a certain way or anything like that. And straight up, this thing isn't fucking limited to just one certain type of person. It's a prevailing thing that you aren't gonna make go away anytime fucking soon. It definitely is valid to be upset at it. It's definitely valid to just be frustrated with how much this could affect your own life or mislead you, or leave you totally just fucking deceptionated, or that's not the fucking right word. Deceived. I'd say it just gives me a strong sense of like discernment when it comes down to what other people are actually thinking. And a lot of the times there just isn't arguments that are willing to just be had because it doesn't really yield any sort of positive results. And it could end up just leaving you appear to be just fucking psychotic. And it's just like, there's definitely, valid reactions towards some of these things that you could experience. But if at the end of the day, you're going to be the one looking fucking crazy or unhinged or insecure, or any of these fucking things that other people may think that you're projecting onto them, that's when you know that you should really just fucking walk away. And I've been doing my best to be a positive person, not focusing on the negative things in this life. I would like to think myself as a fucking conduit for people to be pragmatic towards these situations that we have to fucking deal with. As mentioned earlier, I've had a history of just kind of allowing these negative feelings and energies just manifest in a fucking way that's gonna make me look retarded. And in these days, I feel like there is a sort of just like normalization to folk behaving this way, whether it's these political groups, whether it's certain cultures, whether it's certain environments, it's always going to be a thing. The whole tribalism is just something that isn't going to go away, and you taking it upon yourself to just let other people know how wrong they are. I feel like that in itself is wrong. Only out of the sheer fact that there's really not going to be any sort of like change that could really occur, at least at the level that you're engaging with it at. I mean, obviously, if you have a feeling or an opinion on things, it's very important for you to go ahead and use your fucking voice. But if you're in a like space where you want to say that everyone else is wrong, you really think there's gonna be like a fucking 90s movie sort of like moment where, huh, you did it. You passed the test. You fucking stood up to me. That ain't gonna fucking happen, bro. Definitely a byproduct of you just living in this whole like mental space of just fucking thinking how stupid other people are, how negative they are, or just any of these things. It invalidates any of the other sort of feelings that you should be having towards the good things that are in your fucking life. And I hope I'm not sounding like I'm just fucking repeating a lot of the things that I said in my other video, but it really is rough, bro, because you have the ability to fucking walk, you have the ability to work out, you have the ability to use your voice, you have the ability to focus on things, you have the ability to play fucking games at whatever moment you have, save money, all this stuff. These are blessings that we should be very fucking thankful about. But because you're getting like outcasted or singled out, or just facing fucking negative ass experiences, or just seeing stupid ass fucking people express stupid ass opinions, whether on the internet or in life, and just not getting any sort of flack for it, while you're kind of just being like I don't know, like, that's sort of like self-victimization, and I really do hate to say that, especially since this is something that's applicable towards me. But it definitely isn't something that is as bad as it was back in the day, and it's a goal of mine to just completely remove it from my life. And something that does really help, or at least for me, is just kind of observing how this sort of thing is played out within the external, or other people going through similar experiences. And I mentioned it lightly earlier, but it's very common with people who are like so dead fucking focused on politics being the main reason why their life is shit. I've had a lot of friends that were like that, where we're Hispanics, and then there's a huge fucking claim that it's white people or ICE that are oppressing us the most. But whenever you actually have the lived experiences, you kind of notice that it's never going to be a white person that you're going to beef it with. It's just going to be another fucking Mexican, and it's just very convenient for just people in general to just blame whitey. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm just fucking taking up a political stance at this point, because this is something that's very fucking universal, even with like people on the fucking far right side of the spectrum, where they like to claim that there are people who get overly offended by quote unquote jokes. Let's fucking joke, bro. We can make fucking jokes, but some of these people act like there's not an underlying sort of motive to purposely just belittle other sort of races and shit like that. And I get it, we can fucking laugh at these sort of things, but I tend to notice that if you kind of swing back with your own sort of like humor or whatever the fuck, it doesn't get taken fucking any better than these fucking liberal snowflakes would go ahead and go about it. And that had been something that I had experienced a lot of the times with the old friend groups that I would be a part of, is that they would honestly just focus on like a characterization of who the opposition is. And if you sort of like have any sort of opinion that deviates from what the fuck they're expressing, whether it's freedom of speech, whether it's fucking gun rights, whether it's any of that, it's like they get so fucking triggered. And it's like, man, if you're really such like a stable person who could withstand this life a lot more than these leftists like you claim for them to like not be able to do, it's like they fold under like zero pressure. But yeah, fuck, man. I've growing up, I definitely had a huge issue with depression, anxiety, and just being a fucking weenie, and not really just taking a hold of this life by the fucking titties. And that life has been better than ever than it has been in recent years, and I'm very fucking thankful for it. But what fucking this experience from my work, it's making me just get in my head about it, where, man, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of things that I feel like is worth expressing regarding my experience here, only out of the sheer fact that I feel like other people would really relate or understand how that is. But as of now, I just want to I just want to live, bro. I just want to live, bro. Because this isn't living, man. It really isn't fucking living. To just these are things that shouldn't be focused on. Obviously, like, recognize what the fuck it is that you aren't really welcomed in an environment, or things aren't fair, or you're just getting taken advantage of. don't fucking lay in rumination about it. Like, I don't know, man. That's essentially it for the video. I really don't know how I'm gonna chop this up. This was all recorded in one take, so if there's anything that you could really identify with or relate with, or any of these things that you feel that I expressed being valid, please go ahead and feel free to leave a like, subscribe. Go ahead and leave comments down below about your opinions on this sort of thing. And yeah, if you have something really important to say, I would say just fucking protect that at all costs, because at some point you're just gonna end up being characterized into a certain fucking demographic that doesn't represent you whatsoever. And you end up falling to the wayside. And I honestly do feel like there's a lot of important things for me to say, a lot of important things for me to go ahead and do. Not to say that I'm a fucking grown ass superhero or anything like that, but this, this angle of life that I feel I've been living these past couple of months, this isn't fucking it, bro. It really fucking isn't it. And I encourage anyone else who's going through a negative experience, not let that sort of just encourage you that the whole fucking world is shitty, and just to ruminate on those feelings, because that isn't you, man. That isn't you. Yeah, that's essentially it. Thank you very much if you watched up to this point.